Let's talk about branding for artists or the artist brand. And I dropped this one in here today purposely because I kind of wanted to see if anybody got tripped up over the word brand, or if, we tend to have some bias toward what the word brand even means. We think of like Home Depot or McDonald's or our brand names, things at the supermarket that we buy, and yes, those are brands, and the word brand kind of has been overtaken by these bigger companies. And so when we think of a brand, we think of a company and we think of their products. And that makes a lot of sense because that is what a brand is, but that's what a brand is for them. What you're not realizing is that you're kind of getting wrapped up in the process of what a brand actually is, and you're applying the word brand to the wrong thing. So today what I would like to do is sort of explain what a brand actually is. And I posted some questions in my post earlier today. As an artist, do we have a brand? Do we need a brand? And the answer is yes. You have one by default. Because a brand is a brand is energy. That's all that a brand is. It's energy, it's thought, it's feelings. And that's all that it is. That's all a brand has ever been. These big companies know how to connect to your thoughts, to connect to your feelings, create an energy about them so that you look at them and you think, "Ooh, that's that thing," or "Ooh, that's that thing." And that's their brand to you. And they work really, really hard to create that brand image so that you think of them in a certain way. And guess what? Everybody does it. And we do it in personal relationships, we do it in business, and as artists, whether you're looking to use your art in business or for work or just for your personal projects and pleasure, it doesn't matter. You still have a brand. If you are interacting with any other human being, you know what? I might even say interacting even with yourself, because your brand is the energy and the thought that you have about yourself too. But I'm not gonna dive too. That's getting meta. I'm not gonna dive too much into that. So let's just say if you're interacting with any other human being, right, with your art, then you have a brand because they have a thought about you and your art, and that thought in their head is your brand. Okay. So number one, it's what people think of you, right? They look at your work, they think of your personality, maybe they know you personally, maybe they don't, maybe you're just a big shot, and they're just seeing you on Facebook, or they're just looking at, maybe it's just the people that you see in this group. So whatever people think of you, that your style, your work, that thought that they have creates an energy and a feeling, so that if, say, you posted some, let's just take this group as an example. Say you posted your work, you did an intro, right? You wrote something and you posted some of your work. People in this group are going to look at it. Some people are going to comment. Some people are just lurkers and they're going to look at it. Everybody is going to create some kind of an opinion. It might be an opinion that lasts past looking at it, or it might be something that fleets right on by and they're like, "Oh, cool," or whatever, and they think about it and then move on with their day. Well, whatever that feeling was, whatever the picture of your work, or listening to, or reading what you wrote, whatever that did to them, whatever feeling that gave them, that in that moment is your brand to that person. The next time they see you, because you post something else again, or maybe they see you in another group, or they meet you in real life or whatever, right? You build upon that. So that now they see another one of your pieces and they're like, "Oh, I remember seeing your work. Yeah, it was really cool. And you also did the one that looked like this, or you also wrote that poem that was like that." And it kind of builds upon and builds upon and builds upon. And over time, with the people that you attract around you as your audience for your art, are going to form an opinion about you. And they're, most of them, if they're attracted to you and they're following your work, then let's just assume they all like you, right? So that opinion and that collective opinion about you, maybe they start talking about your work amongst themselves. "Oh, it's very modern," or it's very unique, or "her perspective on this thing in life is very interesting," and "I agree with you," right? And all of these things that they say and feel and think about you become your brand to them. But all of that is in the past. the feelings and energy and the thought that they have of your brand is everything from the past, this moment or whatever moment, the last time they interacted with you and prior. Because nobody looks at you and says, well, I think in the future it's going to be like this. They don't have that vision. So it's only whatever they've interacted with you in the past that creates your brand in their mind. So that's why they say, it could take years and years and years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to destroy it. Because as soon as you do something really bad, then from that moment forward, well, now you're the one that did that. So that's why you got to be, a good person. But let's get back on track. There's one thought, there's one person's energy and vision that can project your brand into the future. And hopefully it's obvious that person is you. So, while everybody else may look at your art or, read, I'm not going to say all the verbs every single time, but, if look at your art is not the proper thing because you write poetry, but you know what I mean, okay? So they're going to look at your art and they're going to have an opinion, but I'm kind of taking it in this new direction, or I'm kind of doing this thing with it, or I'm glad that you like that piece, but that's like a stepping stone piece for me for where I'm going with this, because I have a vision for this, and it's not just what I want this to look like or sound like or feel like or sound, or whatever like, but I kind of want to create an energy around in the world with my work. And you can imagine all of this and then project it outward. And you can do it through your work and through the words that you use to describe your work. Let's take, for example, right, the words that you use to describe your work. I've seen some people post things in this group now. Some people post things, and being humble is very, very good. Nobody likes a braggart or somebody who is just so full of themselves that's like, oh, this person again, right? Because that becomes your brand. But confidence is also a very good thing. So if you can post something and show your work, right? And then write something about your work that describes it in a way that shows humility, but also shows, yeah, I'm good. I know I'm good. But, I'm not an idiot about it, and I'm not going to make you feel bad because I know that I'm good. So it's like, well, so you can say things about like what influenced you to get you to this place, or what was the inspiration for this, or what you're working towards with this piece, or whatever, right? Or you could write something that's just like, I don't know, I'm not really very good, and what do you guys think of this? Because I'm very, very, I'm a terrible artist, and clearly you guys are all good artists. Well, then that kind of starts to build upon your brand too, and by the way, I'm not to put anybody down who feels that way. We all feel that way. It's very easy to be in a group like this and look at other people's art and be like, what am I doing here? I know. But if you can sort of kind of build upon, it's okay to have that humility, and it's okay to have that sense of self-doubt a little bit, but to just sort of write things that amplify, like, why did you do this? There's a reason for that. You have this talent, and now you're doing this thing, and that writing that you do to sort of when you present your work, that also adds to your brand, because people read that and now they're getting a sense of your personality. They're getting a sense of who you are as a human being, and not just by the work itself. That's what I was trying to say with that. So you have dreams, you have ideas, you have a mission, you have a vision for where you want your work to go, or maybe whether it's crystal clear or blurry, like I'm kind of going in this direction, that doesn't matter, but you're moving somewhere, and you want to project that not only through your work, but the way that you talk about your work and the way that you present yourself as a person. And then all of those things create the energy and the aura around you, which becomes the beacon for your brand, so that the people who are attracted to any part of that will see that and be like, oh, I understand what I'm supposed to think of you. It's that. And then that becomes your brand to that person and that person and that person. And then if you're doing your job to sort of focus that energy, well, then collectively, that just becomes your brand. And going back to the Home Depots and the McDonald's of the world that I mentioned in the very beginning, they're excellent at doing that. That's why every McDonald's in the world is exactly the same. That's their brand, because when you walk in, you're going to get that. Well, we as artists want to kind of create that sense too, so that Every time you talk to me, there's a gnat. Every time you talk to me, I do these daily fuels now every day. If you've watched any of them, I'm the same guy. This is me. You're getting a sense of my energy, and from the way that I post things in the group, from the way that I do these lives, and you're getting an opinion about me, and also from the way other people speak about me. So that becomes my brand to you. But I am working on it purposefully so that the brand image that you have of me is the one that I want you to have. And if you aren't getting that because you don't like me, then I want you to leave. That's the purpose of like a Facebook group or curating an audience around yourself. You only want to collect around you the people who are going to see the same vision and share the same vision and want to move in the same direction or want to support you and stuff. You don't want to have a bunch of haters around. You're going to get them. We all get them. But who cares? Okay, you don't like this, it's not your thing, then you're free to leave, and that's great. Have a nice life, that's all, right? So, well, that's really it. So a brand is energy, and it's what people think of you, and you as the artist or as the entrepreneur or as the whatever, the person who owns the brand, you get to decide what that brand energy is, and then you get to put it out so that other people can sense it and feel it and then react to it the way you want them to. All right, so I'm going to end this one here, and I'm going to go to the comments, and there are a lot of people here. So by the way, if you're new to my lives and you're commenting and I've been ignoring you, I apologize for that. I have a spiel that I go through, and then at the end of my spiel, I go to the comments. So if you have questions or anything while I'm talking, dump them in the comments. I'm going to go to them now. I'm going to read them all and say hello to you and all that good stuff. So let's do it now. Scrolling back, there's the Norfolk thing. You spelled it wrong. It's fun staying up. Mrzinski, you got it. Cool beans, thank you. Ray, that's why logos are important. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned logos. I'm going to talk about that in a second. So they can connect with you quickly, even if it's just your signature. Yeah, right? Okay, so I usually go into this a little deeper with entrepreneurs and when I have more time, but since you brought it up, let me talk about logos, fonts, colors, things like that, right? Those are not your brand. Those are representatives of your brand. So you're here in my Facebook group, right? And I got Quantasy and I got the thing and the guy, and you see Daily Fuel, and it's like all my logos are like this weird grungy circle, and this one's got the David in it, and the Quantasy one has the Vitruvian Man in it, right? And these are all like images that I created co-opted to use as brand icons, because they were reflective of the energy that I'm trying to create. So what happens? You're in this group, you're hanging out with me, or maybe you see some of my posts out in regular Facebook or YouTube or wherever, right? And you start to get a sense of me. Now, let's say you're hanging out in this group all the time and you watch my lives every day and you're like, hey, right, this guy's cool. So now let's say you go over to my YouTube channel. Well, you're going to see the same icon. You're going to see the same colors. Well, you're also going to see the same face. So my face is a big part of my brand. But for something like McDonald's or Home Depot, right, the golden arches say, that icon that's not the brand of McDonald's. The brand is the feeling you get when you walk into a McDonald's restaurant. The icon is something so that you get that feeling when you're in your car driving past the restaurant and you go, ooh, a Big Mac. Because you got the feeling just from seeing the thing, right? So it's really just a representative to give people the feeling of your brand before they interact with the brand. So in my case, or in our case, a lot of us, for say a logo for somebody that's not a world famous multi-billion-dollar global corporation, it might just kind of give a sense like, oh, I like that logo. That's really cool. Let me see what this is about. Now, usually that's not a conscious thought. Usually what that is subconscious thinking. They see something, it appeals to them on some level, and they dive a little bit deeper. In your case, with this group, the icon that I have wasn't what probably drew you in. It was the spiritual artist part. So then now you're here and you're interacting with me and my thing. And now if you go anywhere else in YouTube, Facebook, anywhere else, you're going to see my icons and my face, and you're going to remember the feeling that you have from being in the group. That's the whole idea of a logo. when I write scripts and I say this, that's much more succinct. But when I just do it off the top of my head, I kind of go on wacky tangents. Wade, I'm here. Hey, Wade. How you doing? Nice to see you. Aid is also here. Hey, Bobby. Aid, nice to see you. That was a really wonderful comment that you wrote before. Aid wrote a several paragraph comment. It was really, really nice. Thank you so much. And Ray says, and it can always evolve. Yeah, that's another thing, right? Ray, you're like on the ball today with the comments. Your brand can also evolve. Your mission can change. Your vision can change. I said I was running a Facebook group a few years ago. It was very similar to this group, but it was for a different purpose and a different audience. And it really should have been this, but I didn't think of this back then. I was trying to, this goes back to authenticity from, I think, yesterday. I was trying to dilute what I was about to appeal to what I thought was a more marketable audience. And instead of what I should have been doing, which was being truer to myself and what I wanted to talk about. Now I feel like I'm way more on track. And however, it doesn't mean that 2 or 3 months from now or 2 or 3 years from now, I might think like, wow, I'd really like to incorporate this, or I might like to shift it a little bit into this direction, or evolve it into something a little bit broader or narrower or whatever. That happens. And you need to be okay with the fact that you're going to want to do that. And that could be the artwork that you do. Maybe, you know, if you're say you're an actor and you're doing all kinds of different things until all of a sudden you realize, I just want to focus on this one thing. Or I've been focusing on this one thing and now I want to do this completely other thing. We evolve as human beings. It's just part of the game. And your brand can evolve as well. Aid says, I live the essence of my brand. I am the butterfly. Yeah, dude, you gotta live the essence of your brand, especially as artists, and especially if we're like solo entrepreneurs, or if whether you're the face of the brand or not. As individual artists, we are the essence. The essence comes from your heart, right? You take something like McDonald's, the essence comes from you know, whatever, a corporate board meeting. But for us, the essence comes from our art and from our heart. And so you just gotta live your brand all the time. It would be odd for an artist to create art that isn't coming from the heart. I don't know how to do that. I can't really think of a reason why you would do it, but you know, for most of us, we get into art not because it's easy, but because we don't have a choice, right? It's just like coming out of us, and we have to do it. And it's like I have to paint, I have to do this, I have to speak, I have to write, I have to act, I have to sing, I have to do something. And whatever it is, it comes from our heart. So be the essence. Let it just be it all the time, even if you're not doing your art. Even if I'm not singing on stage, or like, I love doing these daily fuels because I love singing on stage, but I can't start a Facebook group and just sing every day. Nobody would be interested in that. But this is like the closest that I have to that feeling. And there's no difference in the way it feels in my heart to do this than when I'm singing on stage in front of an audience. It's weird. I discovered it by accident, and I was just hooked on it. And now I can't stop doing it. Amy says, love these lives, really seeing a different way of seeing artistic things. Cool, Amy. I'm really glad that you feel that way, especially since you stayed up really late. So I'm glad that you're finding value in this. Thank you so much for telling me that. Wade says, speaking of images you created, I'd love to know about the equipment and software you use. It's a superb production. Yeah, thanks. I'll tell you what, I will... Wade, drop a comment here. Let me know. What are you talking about? Are you talking about this? Are you talking about the pieces that I make for the art? I could do a live one of these days and show you guys what I'm doing. I would love to do that. I've been hesitant to throw out too much of my art yet, because I don't want this to be the Bobby Show. I want it to be a group that everybody feels they have a place to do things. And I've already got the Daily Live where you know, I'm kind of, this is already the Bobby Show. It doesn't have to be more the Bobby Show. But I will be sharing my art. I will be sharing my music. And there's a lot of things that I do. But speaking of imagery creator, I'd love to know about the equipment and software you use. I'd love to do a live where I went over all of that. Sure. If there was anything specific you were talking about, Wade, just drop another comment. Let me know. Aid says, my logo is a butterfly within a dream catcher. Oh, okay. That's what the butterfly comment was. I didn't know that or remember that. Sorry. I float around, but I'm chasing my dreams at the same time. That's really, really cool. See, I'll also explain one of these days why the David is, I'll explain it right now, whatever. If you're looking at the daily fuel, right, it's on here. I have it blocked. Yeah, daily fuel. Okay, so, right, I always do it wrong, right? Where is it? There. That's not mirrored, so it's all weird. That thing, you see it. It says daily fuel, and it's the circle, and it's got the statue of David in it. We're all spiritual people here, so I have a connection to my higher self, and I call my higher self David. It's just a name that I came up with, and the David statue to me was sort of this iconic thing that I strive to be more like. It kind of came to me, and I ran with it, and so I just made it part of my logo because I feel like that's me. Right, so whether anyone looks at it and is like, "Well, obviously this man is a Michelangelo statue," no, that's not the point. The point is that it is a representative to me of the feeling that I have when I think of my higher self, and then I just use it as a logo so that you can use it as a representative of the feeling you get when you think about me. That makes sense. Okay, so and then Aid uses the butterfly. All right, that seems to be the last comment. Oh, no, that's not the last comment. Sorry. I have to scroll for more comments. Ray says, it's all about self-expression. You, number 3, you. Yes. That's a good wrap-up, actually, Ray. Your brand is self-expression in a way that you're deliberately doing it so that other people get the energy that you want them to get. Think of it that way. Aid says, it's not the Bobby show. You are the teacher and we're listening. Cool, dude. Thank you so much. Wade, a live would be cool. Camera equipment, cool. Audio, and how you impose your logo. Oh, okay. So you're talking about my lives. It's called Ecamm Live software. I'll tell you right now, but I could do a whole live on it one day. It's called Ecamm Live software. There are some caveats. It only works on a Mac. And the camera that I'm using is my Canon DSLR camera, so you can connect the DSLR, except it can only be a Canon. I happen to be working on a Mac, and I happen to have a Canon DSLR, so that all worked out for me. The lights, I can do a live one day where maybe I'll do it on a different camera so I can move it around. But I have a light here. It's kind of next to me and behind me, so it's creating like I guess it's called a hair light or a fill light, but it's just sort of like shining up this part here. Rather than having flat light on me, if you notice, I'm kind of shadowy. I'm just trying to make a look here. I have another light right here. It's a big box light, and it's very bright. It's about arm's length, like my fingertips right here are touching it, and it's right in my face. But I have the ISO on the camera set kind of low so that I'm not blown out. Back in the back, I have LED blue lights that I just put everywhere, and like I have one. It's kind of funny because I have a table over here, and I have a lamp. The LED lights are just these flat lights. Well, hang on, I can show you this one. It's just these flat lights, right? So what I did is this lamp is on this table, except it's not standing on the table. I have it like sideways. Like, why can't I figure this out? I have it sideways, right? So that the light is pointing at the wall like that. See? And then the wall looks blue like that, right there. And then that's where I put the Daily Fuel logo. Great, Wade. You made me move it. Now I got to redo the whole thing. So yeah, so that creates that. That's a drop light with the same blue light. And then I have another one of these box things over here with 4 of those LEDs on this. And this is just a bunch of shelves. Each one of these things is a meaningful thing to me. So one day I'll go through what everything is. Cannot figure this out. That's Batman and that's the red phone. So I'm kind of a sci-fi nerd. I'm into Doctor Who and Star Wars and Star Trek and all that stuff. I'm into superheroes and things. Not quite as much as like the guys on The Big Bang Theory, if you're familiar with that show. Like, not that much, but I'm into it, you know? And so all of this stuff is kind of in there. I've got like my Pearl Jam album, and there's a Rush album over here, and the Beatles. I really need to learn my left from right in a mirror. The Beatles, right? Beatles are a huge influence for me and my music. Wade says, yes, nice, good job, thank you, I dig it. Cool beans. All right, buddy. Hey, thanks everybody for sticking around through that. Wasn't planning to go through all that, but now I don't have to do it again. I probably will. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking around with me today and spending some time. Like I say this all the time, this is like my favorite part of the day. And now I get to go eat dinner. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye.